tonight's training, I wanted to talk to you about energy and how that is related to anxiety. Right, so an anxiety attack, or you wake up feeling anxious, or you go to bed feeling anxious, or you have a panic attack, they all have the same kind of effect. They're bloody awful, right? And when we start to feel like this, it really churns us up inside and we feel out of control, and our thoughts get really intense. They get quite intrusive. In fact, some of our thoughts we feel embarrassed to even share with people because we think they're just so vile. And literally, physically, our heart starts to go, our eyes dilate, we feel like we're going to die. Right, so this is the breakdown, and this is honestly the formula that I use with my private clients, with my clients in my membership group. It is something that I use every single day to keep myself aligned and in a sane place. So this very simple formula, I suggest you write it down and you keep it somewhere so that you can revert to it. Because in a moment of panic, in a moment of like distress, often we forget everything because we're just too in it. We've got lost in the experience. And actually, believe it or not, anxiety, panic attacks, the whole experience can be switched off in less than 2 minutes. 2 minutes! Less than 2 minutes, your entire bloodstream can be cleared of cortisol. That is all it takes, right? That's not a lot. So what I'm going to share with you right now is pretty life-changing. Grab paper and pen. You can use this when you wake up and you're feeling anxious. You can use this when you go to bed and you feel anxious. You can use this when you're having a panic attack. You can just use this whenever, right? So anxiety, what the heck is it? Well, it's a signal to tell us there's something wrong. Now, when we are operating from a healthy place, there's nothing wrong with the experience of anxiety, because actually it's a communication tool to perhaps stop us from doing what we're doing and assess where we're at before moving forward. So that is not a negative, okay? I'm just wondering, because no one's coming online, I'm just wondering if I've pressed the wrong button and I'm not delivering this to people live. Anyway, it's the first week. I think I might have messed it up, but I'm just going to share it afterwards. So, okay. So what happens then? First of all, anxiety. It is a communication. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the experience of anxiety. The problem is when anxiety turns into consistent anxiety, and that then makes us feel dreadful. Plus, we feel out of control and we feel like we can't make decisions. We get exhausted, fatigued, a whole array of things. You know it, right? So anxiety in its simplest form is a word. It's a word, right, that we use to associate with how we are feeling. Pretty horrific. When we remove that word, what are we left with? We're left with an emotion that we experience. And that is really, when we're saying we feel awful, that's really what we're actually saying out loud, is we're saying we don't feel good because of this emotion that's taken over our entire body. What is emotion? In its most simplest form, emotion is, break it down, energy in motion. That's what emotion is. It's some energy that is operating and moving around your entire being. Energy can never be created, never be destroyed. It can only be converted. Now, this is integral to healing. So if energy can't be created and it can't be destroyed, right? Oh, hi, Sue. Nice to see you here this evening. I was wondering whether this was even working, so I'm glad to see your face. If energy cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed, it can only be converted. Then what tends to happen is when we are feeling distressed, we're feeling anxious, we're feeling out of our depth, our automatic signal is to go, panic, I don't like the feel of this, and we start to push it away. The experience, good evening Toby, good to see you here. The experience of that feeling of that emotion that embeds our whole entire being, that anxiety emotion takes over us, and our natural reaction is to push it away. And why wouldn't we? Because who wants to fill pants? Nobody does. Nobody wants to. So when we do that action, we have an emotion of anxiety, we panic, we then try to push it away. What actually happens in that moment is we cause something called resistance. We're trying to resist the experience because it doesn't feel good. Now, to any sane person, we'd be like, yeah, well, what's the problem with that? You know, it doesn't feel good. Why would you want to hang around with it? You wouldn't. That's right. So we try to push it away. But the problem is that resistance that we create is actually the nemesis to our problem. That resistance that we are creating, that pushing away of the experience, is the very thing that's making it not only stay, but grow in size. Why? Because energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only be converted. So if you are trying to destroy that energy, that anxiety, by pushing it away, you're going to get nowhere fast. Nowhere fast. And one of the best analogies for this is snowboarding. The first time I went snowboarding, I'd never done it before, and my natural sense was to pull back into the mountain, because I'm on a bit of whatever with 2 feet stuck to it, and I'm not very good at it, and so I want to feel safe, so I want to lean back into the mountain. Well, hey ho, worst thing I could have done, because when you lean back on a snowboard, it propels you forward. You have to lean into the fear. You have to lean into the very thing that you don't feel comfortable leaning into, which is away from the mountain. And anxiety is exactly the same. You have to lean into it, because energy cannot be created or destroyed. And remember, anxiety, when we take the label off, we're left with an emotion. An emotion is nothing more than energy in motion. Energy in motion around your body. You cannot get rid of that energy in motion by trying to destroy it and push it away. You have to lean into it. So when you know this, you start to realize that perhaps the number one problem along the way, or the journey of mental health, has always been our own relationship to whatever's been presented, because we have done naturally probably the worst thing we could possibly do, which is try and get rid. And we've done that because any sane person would do that, right? Because who would want to just hang out with anxiety? No one. So it's not because we're radically stupid. It's because we did what felt natural. But the reality is it's not the right thing. Because by doing that, we are suggesting that we can destroy energy, and there is nothing on this planet that can create or destroy energy. You can only convert it. So we now have to learn how to convert the energy of the emotion of anxiety, and then it goes. Simple, huh? So what do we do? Hi Yvonne. Oh yeah, if you jump in on the scene now, just put an emoji or a quick hello, that'd be great. So how do we convert this energy emotion then? What do we need to do? Right, quite simple. So in order to shift our relationship from resisting the experience of anxiety, so trying to destroy the energy of anxiety, we have to go from resistance into a state of allowing. And the only way to do that is to meet the energy emotion, the anxiety, the emotion itself, by experiencing and actually feeling it. So one of the first things that we do is whatever is going on in our lives, because let's face it, we can't predict circumstances. And I get it. Some circumstances are absolutely blooming far from ideal, and they really trigger us, and they bring up all sorts of energy and emotions. And I'm totally with you. Some of the life circumstances are, evil, really. However, that doesn't stop them from happening. So if we know we can't do anything with the circumstances, we've got no control over predicting any circumstances ever in our whole entire life, then we need to surrender that, because that would be a pointless exercise thinking that basically we are something like God or the universe fighting against changing circumstances. It's never going to happen. So we need to bring our attention to what we do have power over, which is we can't change circumstances, stressful circumstances, but we do have the power over the meaning we give things. So an unpredictable circumstance is delivered to us that's not ideal. A loss of a job, perhaps a relationship breakdown, maybe a loss in the family. Perhaps it's just, your electric bill does your head in. Maybe it's a bad neighbour, a fallout. The list goes on. There's a number of things that can happen to us in a lifetime that are not ideal. So if we can't change the circumstance, but yet we're starting to feel anxious because of what we think is the circumstance, how the heck do we get rid of this anxiety feeling without pushing it away? Well, you do this. So first of all, as I said to you before, anxiety is a label. Underneath anxiety, we've got an emotion that we experience. Emotion is nothing more than energy in motion. Energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted. So we can't push away the experience, no matter what the circumstance is, because it's only going to make the experience worse. So instead, we have to get into a state of acceptance and allowing. And the only way to do that, first of all, is bish, bash, bosh. The first moment that you recognise you're feeling anxious, name it. Name it whatever you like, but name it. Why do we name it? Because as soon as we name something, we become separate to it. So in the beginning, this is my anxiety. In the beginning, we're wearing the anxiety, okay? So, oh my gosh, I'm feeling anxious. It's because such and such has happened. I've had a fallout at work with Sarah and Claire wasn't very nice to me and I'm feeling really sad and whatever, okay? So we're wearing and I'm feeling like I can't sleep and blah, blah. We're wearing the anxiety, but then we go, oh my gosh, I just did Kirsty's training and she said, no matter what the circumstances, as soon as you recognise you're feeling anxious, the first thing you do is you need to stop trying to destroy the energy of the anxiety. We need to convert it, and the first thing we have to do is we have to get into a state of allowing, and we do that by changing our relationship to it. We now call it something. So I'm going to call my anxiety right now, for the purpose of this exercise, a water bottle. I love water, by the way, so there's nothing against your water. This is just for this exercise. Right. So I've now named it water bottle. You can name it anxiety. You can name it Fred. You can name it whatever you want. I don't care. What I do care about is that what you do is you create that separation between you and the experience, right? Because energy is moving through you, chi, consistently and will forever. And you need it to keep you alive. So energy is not bad, but if we don't let it go, it then starts to become toxic. But anyway, I'm going too fast right now. So give me an emoji if you're catching up with me right now, if it's making any sense and you're understanding what I'm saying so far. And don't worry if you missed the first bit, there will be a replay. But give me an emoji in the chat box if this is making sense to you. That instead of wearing the anxiety, thumbs up, instead of wearing it, we're now going to take it and we're going to create some space between you and the experience by naming it something. It doesn't matter what we name it, because now we can objectively see that anxiety as a water bottle is in front of us rather than us wearing it. And now we've changed the whole dynamics in one small move, right? So we've now named the anxiety. We can see it in front of us. We're aware that it's there, but we're also aware that we are objectively experiencing it rather than wearing it right now. So now what do we do? Because we don't want to spend the rest of our lives holding a water bottle, because I tell you what, if I hold anxiety for, maybe I could do it for a minute or two, but after 3 or 4, my arm's going to go like this and it's going to get heavy again. So we need to now convert the energy of this experience so it can be freed. Remembering, just to recap for those people that have only hopped on now, The label is anxiety. Underneath anxiety, we have the experience, which is an emotion, which we experience in our body. Emotion is nothing more than energy in motion. Emotion is energy. Energy can never be created and never be destroyed. It can only ever be converted. That is it. So if you spend your whole life trying to push away an experience you don't like, which is quite normal. I know I did that for years. I don't want to feel anxious. I don't want to have a panic attack. I don't want to feel like a piece of rubbish every day. I don't want to. I'm going to have a paddy, goddammit. I'm going to feel like a victim, like it's just not fair. If you spend a life doing that, which is I did for a long time, you're actually trying to be the destroyer of the experience when it can't be destroyed. So it is going to never get you out of a pickle. It's only going to exacerbate the experience and make you feel like you're going downwards. So we're not doing that anymore because we're not crazy people, because we've tried that and we've mastered it and we know it doesn't work. So instead, we are going to shift our experience into becoming the converter of the energy. And the first thing we do to convert it is we take the experience of anxiety and we make it objective, number one. Number two, now we've made it objective to us, we need it to shift and move. We know that resisting something, I don't want to feel like that, is like trying to be the destroyer of it and makes it not just stay, but it makes it grow. So we know that doesn't work. So what is the opposite of resistance? Acceptance, allowing. So we've created a space between us and the anxiety, we've named it. We're now kind of like basically on the same level as it. We know we're not saying it's good, we're not saying it's bad, but we're accepting that it's just there. Now we need to experience it. We need to feel it so it can be freed. How the heck do we do that? Right. Now I know part of your mind's going to go, well, I don't want to feel it because I'm already feeling anxious. Well, check this out. It doesn't need to be anything more than a mechanical process, actually, to experience a feeling. Most of us have a really poor program around feelings. We believe that bad feelings are bad. God knows who's downloaded them to us as a society. I can't even say it, as a society. But everybody, including myself, that I've ever worked with has had this unconscious program in their mind that they believe on some level that the experience of something like anxiety is a bad thing because we've been told that. But it's not true. It's not bad. It's just an experience. It's an experience that doesn't necessarily feel that great. So therefore, instead of like holding on to it for dear life and keeping it there for days, weeks, months, years, sometimes a lifetime, we need to learn to do the opposite and let the energy, let the experience, let the energy and motion go. So how do you feel it? One of the fastest ways to feel energy, so that trapped experience, is to literally allow yourself to close your eyes, get a comfortable seat, hands on your knees, take a breath, and just say to yourself in your head, right, I am going to allow myself to experience this with every cell of my body. And all you do for 1 minute, 90 seconds would be more preferable, but a minute would be amazing, is you are going to allow yourself, by repeating in your head, not really fast, you're going to allow yourself to say, right, I've removed the label of anxiety. I've made it objective to me. But now I'm going to, this energy, the emotion that's left in my body that I'm not labeling as good or bad, I'm just going to allow myself to feel it. That's it. I'm just going to allow myself to feel it. And you close your eyes and you allow yourself to feel. So let's have a little go. It doesn't matter if you're not feeling anxious right now. You can just have a go at the process. So all I want you to do is we're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to close our eyes and I will guide you. Okay, it's only going to take a minute. Just a minute, 1 sec. It's only going to take a minute to do. Okay, so you can sit down. I'm just stood up because I am. Right, so you're just going to like literally close your eyes and get comfortable, okay, for a moment. You can roll your shoulders. You probably have like a bit of a stressy day anyway, so you know you might as well take a moment and just release any tension. Give yourself permission to be free in this Next couple of minutes, you're totally safe, there's nowhere to go, and you're fully supported by me. So on the count of 3, we're going to take a beautiful deep breath in. We're going to hold it for a moment, and then we're going to exhale. So 1, 2, 3, in. And we're going to hold it for the count of 4. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Can you see just in that one breath the shift? It's incredible. Okay, so now you're just going to bring your attention to your whole entire body. There may be tension, there may be more tension in your shoulders. You might feel like your lower back holds a bit of tension. Perhaps you're a bit, chesty and, feel like the way the world's like sat on you, or maybe it's your neck, or perhaps you just feel it in your head, like tension. Wherever it may be, it doesn't matter, okay? And all you're going to give yourself now is permission to just allow yourself to feel whatever is being presented, whatever is there. So you're just going to allow yourself to just feel and experience. So I allow myself to experience with every cell in my body any tension, any energy that needs to be released. And as you do that, you just take some nice breaths in and release. And in and release. There's nothing to do, there's nowhere to go. You just give your body total permission to let go of any unwanted energy, stress, hidden anxiety. And one last time in and release. And slowly open your eyes. Are you still awake? So that is such a simple step and process, but that 90 seconds, I cannot tell you how powerful that is to not just shifting unwanted stresses, but to inner calm. It sets off your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of the nervous system that allows you to rest and digest. It clears the bloodstream of cortisol. In 90 seconds, 90 seconds, you can clear your entire bloodstream of cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So this process, this mini process, allows you to be able to regain back your power in the moment when you are feeling, oh, it's fine, Marion. And Marion said, thank you. Lower back of my head. Yeah, we've all got different Achilles heels. But yeah, it allows you to be able to, in the moment, have an exercise that you can literally activate and take back control of the way that you feel. There is never, I use this with private clients, honestly. I use it with, and I've used it for a long time. I use it on my own, myself. I use it on my children. It's never not worked. I've never not seen it work. I have snapped people out of like severe panic attacks in like less than 3 or 4 minutes using that very process. That very process that in the morning you wake up and you've got that dread that just seems to be a cloud of doom that's taken over you. That very process will get you out of that space. An anxiety attack that is heading fast for literal panic stroke A&E because I think I'm having a heart attack. That very process, I have snapped people out in literally less than 3 minutes. I have used it on myself a gazillion times. Why? Because that is a process that works. If you never get anything else from me ever again, and all you ever take down is this, it will change your life. That's how powerful that process is. But look, I get it, right? I hear you going, yeah. Well, it seems all really easy in the moment, but you know, leave me on my own for another day or two, and then I'll forget it all, or I'll revert back. And so I understand, and I can tell you why. All the things that I teach are not difficult. They're not, but they are different. They are different. And this is where the problem happens. And this is where the deep dive needs to be maintained. Is that your egoic mind, not yours specifically, mine, yours, everybody's, is pessimistic by nature. That's its ingredients. It is an egghead by nature. And it likes law and order. It likes to do the same things over and over and over again. It doesn't like change. In fact, it will do whatever it can do to keep you reverted back into old ways of behaving, even if those ways of behaving do not serve you. It will rather have you doing that because it knows it, it's familiar to it, and it's not breaking out of the comfort zone than you making change. As soon as you make change, you get a fight on your hands, and the fight comes in the form of thoughts. Oh, don't worry about doing that. It's not going to work. No, you don't know where it is anymore, so there's no point going to find it. No, I won't bother doing that today because I'm sure that there's better ways to be able to deal with my anxiety. It will tell you a whole heap of crock of heap of crock. That's a sentence. It will tell you so much rubbish. And unfortunately, that rubbish, that downward spiraling rubbish is what keeps people anchored in bad, poorly behaved ways that keep people trapped in a state of mental health, in poor anxiety, in low depression, and the list goes on. And this is why I double down and teach this in my membership. Because I understand that I can share tools. I've just shared the most life-changing tool you're probably ever going to hear when it comes to mental health. But I also am completely and utterly aware that no matter what, even though I've shared them tools, you still potentially will struggle because there is this thing called a mind that until you learn how to become back in control of the egoic mind, back in control of your emotions, what to do, how to be able to actually be the boss again, it is so unbelievably easy to slip back into old ways. I cannot tell you. And that's why I was like, I need to help people, and I need to do it fast, and I need to do it in a format where people can come and they can download the information at their own pace when they've got time, to be able to have a support network where they can reach out and ask for my help or my team's help when they are struggling. And so I created this membership, which is called Mind Freedom, where the first thing we do is we activate the barrier between you and you falling backwards into a downward spiral. And that is when we fall unconscious to the way we're behaving. The biggest problem and the reason why any of us end up back in a slump is because we've fallen back into our old way of being. We've fallen back into a behaviour that doesn't serve us. If this makes sense, give me an emoji. If this makes sense, give me a high five while I just read some of these. Hi, my egghead brain is so... Hi, Jonathan. I don't know, have you got an egghead brain? It's not an egghead. Yes, it's great. I'm glad this is making sense. So ultimately then, the main thing is that in this membership is that I wanted to be able to activate, first of all, your awareness and be able to show you and teach you so that you can do it yourself. Because long term, it's not about me being there for you the rest of your life. It's about me being there to guide you, give you support so you can build back up your muscle, your internal muscles, your internal awareness muscles, so you can take control of your own mind health. And honestly, if you don't have mind health, you don't have anything. Like it in my eyes, it's the most important thing that you need to work on, because mindset, mind health is literally, it underpins everything. It underpins everything. It underpins the way that you see yourself. It underpins your confidence. It underpins your self-worth, your self-belief. It underpins your mental health. It underpins your relationships. It underpins the way that you are with money. It underpins literally your whole entire life. That's how important it is. And yet most people give zero And not because, I mean, because it's just not taught in schools, and it should be, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, most of us have never really given any attention or energy or investment into this part of who we are. Yet 95% of your life is run by an automatic program that is in your unconscious mind. And if that automatic program is not sublime and wonderful and uplifting and in alignment with who you want to become, you're constantly going to hit a brick wall. Constantly. So in the membership, give me an emoji if you fancy, if you want to hear a bit more about this membership. If you'd like to know a bit more about the membership, just give me a high five or an emoji or a yay or a whatever if you'd like to know more about what is possible for you to get out of this membership. Because I really feel quite passionate about this, because I created it because I wanted to create this community. Yes, I want to really expand on the community here on the Facebook group, but I wanted to then take it a step further. I am going to be giving free trainings in this community on a weekly basis. But I know some of you are going to need more than that. You're going to need to be able to reach out. You're going to have questions. You're going to want support. You're going to want more guided step-by-steps. And quite rightly, yes, because I know that, because that's what I've needed along the way, and still do, by the way. I still do have a coach. I still invest in myself, because it's an onward, consistent development of progression is how I see it. Anyway, so the membership, basically, not only are you going to learn lots of tools, but the main thing is about overcoming things like mental exhaustion, overthinking, worry, consistent worry, and being able to have the tools to be able to change your relationship to those things, so that you start to gain back not just your own internal energy and confidence, but you also get to clear some of the pathway so you can remember who you are. You can remember what it is that you even like and what you even want out of life. Because when we're in survival mode, there ain't no time to be working out all the niceties of life. No, because we're spending most of the time trying to survive it. So it's a combination of trainings, it's a combination of, we do a monthly Q&A session, but also you get live meditation sessions with me as well. One of my hats is I'm also a meditation teacher. And all this comes with a beautiful little app to your phone that you can reach out on basically Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. So if you're having a wobble, you can reach out, and myself, one of my team, will get back in touch with you and support you in real time. And I think that's really important, because when you're struggling, if you can get some support within an hour of whatever's going on, you can nip it in the bud. You can nip it in the bud there and then. And then you don't have to carry it on into the next day or the next week or the next month or the next year or the next life. Jeez, we've all done that, haven't we? So it's a really big supportive community, and all this is only £97 a month. That's all I'm charging for everything: the trainings, the support, the reach out, the monthly Q&As, the meditations, etc. But unfortunately, it's not going to stay at that. It is going to go up next month. So whoever joins this month, you will consistently get that price ongoing. So I will put a link, in fact I think there is a link on the page to the membership site. Please feel free to jump on it and go and check it out. So let's go back to what I want you to take away with you this evening and implement into your week. And that is this simple, life-changing process to the way that you see anxiety. Anxiety, number one, is a label. We take the label off, and what we're left with an emotion that we experience within our body. What is an emotion? If you break the word emotion up, it is energy in motion. It is energy moving around our experience. What we tend to do, though, is we tend to try and resist it and push it away because it doesn't feel good. Unfortunately, that's literally the worst thing we could do. That makes it escalate and feel 10 times worse. Why? Because that's like trying to destroy the energy, and energy can never be created, never be destroyed. It can only be converted. How do we convert it? Well, the first thing we do when we recognise we're feeling anxious is we stop wearing the anxiety and we make it objective to ourselves by naming it. You can name it whatever you want. I named it water bottle tonight. Water bottle. Now I can see the anxiety. I can see it's objective to me, and I can recognise that there's some space there, and therefore I've got an opportunity to let this go. Now I've done that, I now need to convert this energy so it can be freed. We know that resistance keeps it there, so we need to get ourselves back into a state of allowing. We do that by experiencing the actual feeling, and we do that by closing our eyes, and you can go back to the process that I did before to be able to do that. Then it allows it to gently go away. Within 90 seconds, you can clear your bloodstream. Bish, bash, bosh. That's all you do. All I'd love to hear from you is how you've got on. Have a go at using it. Please, I'd love the feedback.